Hello, StarCraft lovers. I decided to stream this season and match with Bisu and Soulkey. Actually, it's not Soulkey, I mean, it already finished, but I was busy, so missed it. But decided why not to stream if I will watch. It will be for history on YouTube as well, so why not? And also no tasteless there. There is again this lame squeaky girl. You know what I mean. So yeah, I think it will be better if Artosis and me sometimes will comment. Well, I will anyway turn it on. Anyway, let's watch the great games. Enjoy.
The epic saga of ASL continues. We already
I wonder why they add this shitty trash music when StarCraft Brood War has absolutely brilliant post.
versus Soulkey tonight, Rapid.
Right, and I'm really
Just
glad
turned
we're
on
doing
the
this third
Terran
and fourth place
Protoss
match. It's
Zerg
gonna be a little
music.
bit of a new thing for viewers
Yeah,
of the
Rapid.
ASL. We've done this
That
in previous
fucking
seasons.
little retard.
It's a cool way to get a chance
Why
to
the
get
hell
some
they invited
vengeance
him?
or, you know, have a chance
It would
to
be
really
better
show,
if
yourself again
even
for these
without
players that
tasteless,
weren't
just
able to make
with
it on to our
Artosis,
finals match.
but
And for Soulkey
this
and Bisu, I
guy,
think either
his
one of them equally probably had that potential to
commenting
make it all the way
is
to the finals.
absolutely
So we are
lame.
where our finals are going to be. This is where you can watch Shine versus Flash. To be at Children's Grand Park on Sunday.
We'll try just to ignore his stupid comments like the probe is the best unit in game and trash like that.
Currently, the brainiest player in the game will Flash, the greatest that there is. Win 2 ASLs in a row. We'll see on Sunday.
At least Artosis and Tasteless were really playing StarCraft Brood War indeed. They know about game, and this guy fucking milks up.
And check that out. It's really important time for Brood
He
War.
was never playing Brood War on the good level.
By the way, guys, it's at the forest stage. There are multiple places that you can go to see things there. There's always like signs and stuff though. So
And yeah, finals as well. I will stream finals later, I guess.
Or maybe they do have kids because it's me or Shine. Then just ask, and I'm sure that's where a lot of people are going to be headed on this day.
Interestingly enough,
The results were predictive.
Cellot made it there season 1, and
That's right.
he had kids as well. So
But we will
that's lots of
talk
kids
about
out
it
there
later.
for our
Well,
finalists.
it's funny, this whole generation is getting old. People who played StarCraft 1, like everyone I know is like getting married, having kids and
Yeah.
stuff, and that's just the way it is, right? This game came out in 1998, so if you were playing it and you were good, then you're old now.
Yeah, I really do enjoy that about the StarCraft community. A very, very mature, well thought out, critically thinking bunch. Big fan. All right, so here is
Some for sure.
here is a look at our finals and our third place and how all of our players got where they are. Shine took out Bisu 3-1, made it to the finals, whereas Soulkey had a narrow series versus Flash, but ultimately the God Terran did advance to the grand finals.
And I mean, that series is definitely one that you got to check out, guys. Flash was on the edge of his seat there, especially in Game 5. That was a very, very close one, and Flash just used his utmost skills to win. So, very exciting one. But today, of course, as we've been talking about, it's the third place match. Bisu against Soulkey. Soulkey has been looking fantastic.
Right.
He took out Best, who is arguably in as good of shape as Bisu at the moment. So that definitely speaks a lot to his skill, whereas Bisu did lose his last PVZ here against Shine, but Shine is a bit of a different player.
Yeah, a little bit different. Soulkey has started to innovate a little bit himself, but not quite as much as Mr. Bag of Bills that took Bisu out. Now, one crucial thing to notice as we can see the maps that are to be coming up is that Outsider, which is traditionally a very Zerg favored map, is set 2 instead of being later on. So you're guaranteed to be able to play on that map, and I think that might bode well for Soulkey.
Also, I just want to point out real quick, Andromeda was actually the map banned by Bisu as opposed to Outsider. So that just goes to show we've been talking a lot about how both Outsider and Andromeda are good Zerg maps in both matchups, but Bisu feeling that he would rather the chance of playing Outsider twice than Andromeda, so that really speaks a lot to how much he dislikes that map.
Yeah, also it's the map that Soulkey beat Bisu on in round 1 of this tournament, so doesn't want to relive that experience for sure.
At least not twice more.
Oh yeah, well, definitely there. There is Bisu, and you can see all of his stats and achievements. Many, though they may be, golden badge holder, golden basically everything holder. If there's something that Bisu wanted to hold at one point in time, there's very little that could stop him from that. But he is going to have to hold on against his opponent tonight, a Zerg player who has been playing seemingly endless amounts of games. He played versus Flash 2 days ago, then he played versus Mind yesterday. Now he's playing versus Bisu today, and he'll be playing Free tomorrow, or in a couple days. So Soulkey has just been on fire lately. He's been having very good results.
Yeah, he's right up at the top of all these tournaments, which is why he's having to play all these really hard matches. For those of you who only tune in to ASL currently, Mind is, he was actually the guy that was going to be like the other Flash Terran, and then he kind of had a rough spot in StarCraft 1. Oh yeah, he's actually the guy who knocked Bisu down right after. Bisu was going to win 2 championships in a row, and Mind beat him in the finals with the most brainiac Terran play we had ever seen to that point. So I'm sure that was a great match wrap, but I haven't gotten to see that one. But
yeah, it really showcased a lot of Soulkey's dominance, able to really just sort of roll with the punches. Anything you throw at him, he's ready for it, and he already has that built into his plan. A very smart player in his own right. And crucially enough, you know, you guys may be a little bit unfamiliar with Bisu or with Soulkey, but for Bisu, who's kind of a household name at this point, their record against each other is 9-3 in Bisu's favor, but still very close. And if you can get 9-3 versus Bisu, I think any player just about would be happy with that record.
Oh, you're certainly right about that, but let's take into consideration that Bisu's peak occurred quite a while ago, right? So he's been playing at the very top level forever. So other players, as they're coming up, like Soulkey, you know, Soulkey, even before the StarCraft 2 switch, was becoming a very high-end StarCraft 1 player, no doubt. So, you know, those games would be counted in there, and it don't necessarily have weight at this point. He's a champion at this point from StarCraft 2. He's super experienced. He's really found his own place within RTS esports. And I think right now, I don't think he's even peaked yet in StarCraft 1, to be honest. I think that this guy he's going to win a championship eventually.
Yeah, whether or not it is maybe the next ASL or SSL, we'll find out. Let's go ahead and get into our bronze match tonight. It's Bisu versus Soulkey. Game number 1. And here we are. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the bronze match, spawning in the Protoss colors as Bisu. It's that guy.
Wow. Spawning in the Protoss colors as Bisu. That's amazing. That was a really great...
Never been done before. You're witnessing the making of history right now.
The Protoss colors.
I'm innovating, casting so much. Tasteless isn't going to know what to do when he gets back.
No, I guess he won't.
Well, that guy's Soulkey, so really cool to see the starting map be Circuit Breaker. It's a very standard map, one of the most balanced maps in history, and we get a chance to watch these guys play out what should be a pretty standard game.
Yeah, this map gives us a lot of good games, and I'm hoping that we can see a longer macro game here. I do really like both of their macro plays, although Soulkey has shown so much aggression against Protoss as of late. And to be honest, like when he took down Best, you know, I thinking back to that, first off, who do you think wins this match before this gets too crazy?
Yeah, we were talking about this a little bit earlier. I think Soulkey, just from having played so many matches recently, and he also has to prepare for free in SSL a couple days from now, he's probably like really on top of this. And I mean, even though this is the matchup that Bisu has innovated, he's kind of struggled in PvZ recently, most recently versus Shine. So I'm actually going to give this one a close series win, maybe 3-2 to Soulkey.
Okay, I mean, it's not a bad prediction, to be honest, with how he's been playing, as you said, but looking back at the series against Best specifically, a lot of those losses were Best not properly blocking his ramp.
Yeah, last one especially.
Yeah, so some, like, I mean, a good sharp play from Soulkey, but when they got into the later game at all, like, Best was looking quite good, and Soulkey lost a little bit of power there, even though I am a big fan of his late game ZVP. So I look at that, and I'm like, oh, I think that this is enough information for Bisu to work off of to make sure that he kind of you know, has everything tight, right? Like no holes in any walls, perfect scouting, and so I'm actually going to side with Bisu here for the victory. Although I think it'll definitely be a 3-1 is about as one-sided as I think this match could get.
All right, so we did see a scouting drone eventually find Bisu. Overlord went top, and the drone was able to find him. And now here is the probe for Bisu, the most deadly unit in the game. It's going to be out, and already a Zealot rallied across the map.
Again, this retard, just as I predicted, the most deadly unit in game, probe.
Right, the Zealot's not going to be able to get too much done with this many lings, but definitely wants to keep that pressure on.
Oh, he's actually going to pull back the Zealot if I'm reading that correctly on the minimap. So.
Yeah, it looks like. I think he just saw the amount of lings, you know, when 6 are chasing your probe and then 4 run off. Yeah, that might be time for you to consider getting back and defending a bit, because if the lings run by and get in your base, that's really painful. They're likely to do more damage than the Zealot let loose in the Zerg base can do.
So a lot of times we'll see Zerg take a third main as their third base, but Soulkey's actually gone for a third main or a third base at the 9 o'clock position.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Okay, so basically when you see the third main, that is, or rather another main base being taken by Zerg, a lot of times that's reserved against Terran a little bit more.
Which main? It's
X. The Zerglings popping up here. Some good micro by Bisu, though. Very much on top of things. And now, but now he has to like defend against these Zerglings, which will be very annoying. And I'm not going to scream at every single probe that dies, because there might be a few. But anyways, back to what you were talking about here, Rapid. You know, you want another base that's kind of far away against Terran. Against Zerg, or against Protoss, rather, while you can do something like that, you don't necessarily need to. Having it close by can allow you to move things like Overlords, Hydras, Lings, drones back and forth a bit more easily for your defense.
Now, this might get a little bit crazy here. There's 8 Lings rallied across the map, so those are going to hit right at the front door. I think that's 6, but it's a really good wall this time for Bisu, and you can see that he's already got probes off the line, as you definitely need against this much early Ling pressure. Yeah,
this is a little bit tricky. This is good micro by Soulkey, bringing these 3 Lings up to flank with, so he's got to make sure that this cannon stays up and stays alive.
He's going to kill the Zealot. He does get a Zealot kill at the front.
Yeah, he's got to bring up the rest here. But
this is totally fine.
That Soulkey has made, and I don't think
he killed
quite
a lot
found
of
the damage he's looking
Zerglings.
for yet. He's only killed like 1 or 2 probes, right?
I think he might have too many
Wait for
Zerglings
the
rallied
cannon,
up
though.
here. The wall is open. The cannon will finish, but as soon as it finishes, it gets taken down.
Wow, just barely getting rid of that cannon right there. That was a nice move by Soulkey, but he hasn't truly broken in yet. He's not really doing that much damage to these minerals. And Bisu continues to try to hold on.
Bisu's going to lose every Zealot at the front door. He gets his Zealot surrounded. Now there's only probes to block.
Oh, this is a big problem right here. That was a miss micro when he was controlling probes in his main base, and now the Lings are just flooding in.
Yeah, I think Soulkey's done it, Artosis. More Zerglings
Quite a
than
lot
there are really
Zerglings
anything
now
else. One
in his
cannon
main.
will complete, so it's going to be very
That's
difficult to get
problem.
more Zerglings in, but there's already 6 in the main.
Okay, well, with this cannon, no more Lings are really going to be getting in. He's sending a few more back. Oh, he's coming down to try to kill it.
And he does get it. Another one now finishes warping in, but Bisu probably holds on from here, but has he taken too much damage?
I'm not sure about this decision. Why just not to harass economy on the main?
He hasn't been mining extra gas. It's not like he can just transition.
He could kill a lot of probes
he's
there.
not taking any more probe kills, like,
Well, of course
this
I
is not
understand
getting
he
broken
wanted
anymore.
to
Soulkey already
destroy the bottom
completely
cannon,
all in
but
everything,
still I
when he
think
brought his wings out of the
it
main
could
base
be
to
more
flank the cannon
rational
because he had
to
already made
harass
wings,
economy on
that's
the
a
main,
risky
kill a lot
gambit, and
of
it didn't really
probes
pay off
there.
there.
So he's going to try to go for it again and at least target down this gateway, and I think he will get the gateway. Yeah, at the front, he does have even more Zerglings, but with 2 cannons behind that, that's really hard to break.
Yeah, this is actually very, very good play out of Bisu to pull those probes down, have them in position, and this is kind of what I was talking about. This is the type of way
If he would
Soulkey
harass
was trying to kill
economy,
best,
then
in
he
fact got kills against best. But
easily
here
could
we see
just
that Bisu is defending well against it. There were
play
a
more
few
solid,
holes a couple of times. That
develop
happens
his
against such
economy
a
from
strong
3x,
player as Soulkey that's kind of forcing these weird positions.
and then put the game into
Bisu
macro,
has
but
done
still,
well
like,
enough
he
against
will
it that
be
he is absolutely still in this game.
Behind this,
behind
transitioning
Bisu.
making drones instead of Zerglings, starting to get things up at his third base, and there's a Hydra Den on the way.
Yeah, and
now it's not
is
like that. He destroyed that bottom cannon, but it gave him quite nothing.
3 hatch, sorry. So
in long term,
that definitely is an important thing to keep in mind right here. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to go all in with this. He might be making that. We saw an Evolution Chamber as well. So he's definitely a little bit afraid of the Corsairs that he knows are going to be coming out. He's already seen that starport, but Bisu, like, he already has got a couple cannons up. I think he's going to be fine against everything, really.
And he's going to be transitioning into these Corsairs, only 1 out right now. See if he commits to large numbers of that. But even if he does, on the other side, Soulkey ready to go with some Spore Colonies up, protecting his bases. Here comes second Corsair down towards the main. Looks like they will join up and continue Overlord hunting.
Yeah, and he needs a scout as well. He needs to see, okay, do you have a lair yet? Are you going for Spire? Okay, he sees there's a 4th hatchery. That's very important intel. And flying over this third base location, seeing that, okay, he's seen everything now, right?
Yep.
He's seen Hydralisk Den, 4th hatchery, no lair. That is a ton of intel right now. And this is just Soulkey trying to normalize this into a macro game.
Now, one thing that it wasn't, I think it was free in his most recent online tournaments, at least from what I was watching, a lot of times he struggles with getting out of 2 bases, especially when he's had to deal with early aggression. For Bisu, you know, it's always kind of interesting to see how long players want to stay on 2 bases. You have guys like Flash who will just stay on 2 bases and then bust out. It's like, oh wow, you can actually do that. Bases stay alive for a very long time, lots of minerals, lots to mine. So when does Bisu really need to get out here and try to look at expanding or putting on pressure? Well,
Pressure can start right away because he sees Soulkey trying to get into economy, right? Like the 4th hatchery is a bit late because of the amount of Zerglings. The layer is going to be late here. Yeah, he has that Hydralisk Den, but this is a good time for him to at least be on the map forcing units as opposed to drones. But I don't think that we'll see him try to take a 3rd base until after Storm. If you do, then Hydralisks are going to be too hard to deal with.
And that's actually what happened the last time these 2 guys played against each other. Bisu tried to take an expansion a little bit ahead of schedule, and he didn't have the storms that he needed to prevent being Hydra busted. So definitely has to be on his mind as he looks to push out on the map and start to get some of this Zealot pressure zoning.
Now look at this. He's already got the +1. He's got the Zealot legs on the way, no doubt about it. And for sure should have Storm already started. So this is a good place for Bisu right now. He's got a good amount of Zealots. He hasn't thrown really any of them away. Look at that. The legs finish up. So now he's marauding around the map a little bit, and Soulkey does have to be careful.
And that is a lot of Zealots, actually. A lot of Hydras, though, clumping up. Here comes Soulkey's Hydras now running back away, picking off one of those Corsairs, which is randomly right over the Hydras. But these Speed Zealots are really killing off a lot of Soulkey's army.
Yeah, that was some nice micro by Bisu, moving his Zealots into that group of Hydras and making some of them stop, catching a lot of them right now.
Great surrounds there, and really preventing these Hydras from getting home as easily as they otherwise would have.
Now there's a DT out coming up in this direction as well. He only saw a single Sunken over there, and if there is a possibility to get in here on top of these Hydras, he can easily kill off this Overlord and have the DT wreck the base.
All right, well that one Sunken is going to get targeted down by the Zealots. More Hydras on the high ground with this Dark Templar getting in here. That's going to be a little bit too much, and there it is. So GG's out.
Yeah, that was a really good game, and that kind of
nice.
like really really shows
That was
where
pretty
these
fast,
two guys are at,
actually.
right? Soulkey already kind of showed his colors
If you
against
can
Best.
call it a counter-attack
Prepared really
from
hard
the
for Best because he is
beginning of
one
the
of the
game.
best Protosses in the world right now. Bisu has looked at that. He's played
That
a
was a
safe
really
game here,
great
getting those
sneaker
cannons
control
up,
by Bisu
even
with
pulling
the
his
Zeals.
initial Cellot out that was going for pressure, knowing that Soulkey would probably just run the Lings by it anyways and try to get that damage. But Bisu, even though there was like some tiny little holes in his walls at times, this was just a very solid defense. Really well executed game against the style Soulkey has shown in the past.
Definitely kind of balanced on a knife's edge there. Soulkey was going for that early bust, and some points looked like Soulkey might have accomplished his goal, but incredible defense from Bisu will give him the victory in Game 1. Game 2 coming up next.
And here we have a huge advantage. Well, it's not leave. I can just skip the shitty ads and everything. We can just skip that. And we will do that. So, but anyway, give me just 1 minute. Let's turn on some classy StarCraft music, not the trash. Next one is Outsider, right? Yep. Map, I mean Outsider. Сейчас, минутку, господа. Тоже еще финалы. Финал. Вот может скончается. Ок. That's it.
Welcome back, everybody. We just saw Bisu hold a very cheesy game from Soulkey. And I think that
I don't think
this should be
was
a
so
signal
cheesy.
to Bisu
It was
first
okay.
off that this is what Soulkey
Zerg
wants to
is
play
being
still,
Zerg.
and to Soulkey that Bisu is onto him.
Well, I mean, for anybody playing against Soulkey, especially these sort of legendary players, you always have to keep in mind, you know, am I going to be the next legendary player that loses to his early game aggression? Because he definitely, you could see that I have a GIF of Flash's face when he had to deal with that poor pool the other day. I was
Who
like,
invented this
whoa,
guy?
you can't just do this to me. Well, yes, he can. And he did try for an early Ling bust in game number 1. Bisu just
Really,
expertly,
tasteless is
deftly,
just great in
sort of,
comparing.
arranging all of his units, pulling his probes right where it needed to.
Yeah,
So
yeah. He
really
dealt
good
with
defense.
that. His crisis management was fantastic. There was really only one time where I was like, ooh, you're very out of position. Your wall, 2 of the Zealots went too far forward.
Ooh,
but
yeah.
it was okay still. It still worked out for him. And, I mean, after scouting and seeing exactly what Soulkey was up to as the follow-up, he knew exactly how to kill him. And I think the rest of the series can look like that for Bisu based on what we've seen from Soulkey. But, you know, I don't want to, like, overcall. We don't know exactly what Soulkey wants to bring into these next games.
And the maps are very different because coming up, we're on Outsider, which is definitely a map Soulkey has had a lot of experience playing on and a lot of success. I think he had a 56% win rate, which is still over half. Great. It's going to be interesting
Actually,
to see how Bisu wants to play
great.
this. He's already very well known for that heavy Corsair
just
style.
another
Air
proof that
units
this
very
guy,
good on Outsider.
like,
So
he
this is going to be a really cool
doesn't
map.
know what he's talking about.
It's such a hard map for PvZ. I do wonder if, like, for instance, what did we see? We saw Best here go for that heavy Dragoon style with the Reaver push.
Yeah.
One of the most masterfully played PvZs I've seen in a very long time. But will Bisu go for something like that? Will he go for a cheese, or will he go for something like Reavers and Corsairs? It's hard to say at the moment, but this man can do it all.
He certainly can, and when Bisu is on fire, it's
No,
just
I can do it all,
a
но
force
Шайну таки
to
слил
behold. And really,
Было
no one can
5-5,
truly
стало
stand against that.
8-6 и
For Soulkey,
кстати.
his early game aggression, it's really good. It's worked very well for him, but may not necessarily be the options to go to versus Bisu.
Yeah, he's going to be pretty airtight, I think. In this map especially, like you're not going to like take your front natural, you take a back natural here. So you're not going to break that ramp most likely. Sure, Shine did it with a lurker bust nonetheless, but Bisu's going to be ready for things like that now.
So let's go ahead and get in game number 2. It's Soulkey versus Bisu on Outsider. All right, and here we go. Our yellow
Must be an
Protoss
interesting
player
game on Outsider,
spawning at
I
9
guess.
o'clock position. This is Bisu.
Yeah, that's Soulkey, of course. Okay, so the one thing that's kind
Especially
of super
when
interesting to me is that Bisu
the
is willing to play 2
performances
games
are
here.
so
Welcome.
great.
This
Big
nerd
fan.
loves StarCraft.
Yeah, he was first
Foreigners,
in line. Get in today.
foreigners out there as well.
But yeah, this Bisu vetoed Andromeda, and basically how the vetoes work here, guys, is the map you veto, you still have to play in a best of 5, but it won't be played twice because the first and last map are always played twice. That's how Brood War goes. Well, the first and last map is the same map, is what I mean by that, because you have a 4-map pool. So he said, I don't want to play Andromeda twice, not Outsider. Most Protosses veto Outsider, so that means he feels more comfortable here than Andromeda. It can't really mean anything else.
There are a lot of cool ways that you can harass Zerg too. If they do take the back expansions, you just like glitch a unit through, or later on with with shuttles, you can just drop dragoons, like one dragoon behind a mineral line. You can't mine there anymore. So it's gonna be interesting to see the most likely a heavy air style here for Zerg. It's what we've seen a lot of lately. That is a hive. Took me a second to figure that out.
Yep.
That's the kind of hive I would draw. It's like, okay, well, I know it's got spikes on the outside. It looks like a volcano in the middle. That's the kind of volcano that I would put like a baking soda and vinegar in as a kid in science class.
Lame jokes
Looks a
again.
lot like a hive too.
I never really
From
did
this
my
girl.
science projects, but it sounds like a good way to do it. So, yeah, I think here, like, I would imagine that Soulkey will probably play Hydrotech.
Standard
I don't
place.
think he's going to play like we
Pretty
saw.
no.
Okay.
What was it? Shine
Nothing
going like.
cheesy at
Oh, wait,
all.
no. Shine here went for the Lurker.
Yeah.
The Lurker bus. Yeah, God, he had some really crazy builds. But yeah, sometimes you do see people go for. Like, you can definitely go
No
Spire
crazy
and open up
builds
with
at the
Scourge, see if you
moment.
catch a few Corsairs, and then things can get out of hand for Protoss quickly. And that actually worked out for Shine against Bisu the other day, to be fair.
Able to catch those early Corsairs.
Yeah.
He did where you park the Scourge right over the Stargate, and as soon as Corsair pops out, you just kill it, and Bisu is pretty sad those games. So, yeah, if you can get the first early Corsairs,
He actually
then going
could do
Mutas
like
is definitely
2 more
in the
attacks
cards,
on
but
the drone drone try
Hybrid
to
play,
stop
like you
it,
said, probably the
To
option
stop the
here for
Zealot.
Soulkey. He's his probe scouting everything out, and
to save some time.
there's more probes on the map, Artosis.
Yeah, 2 probes with that Zealot, so a lot of micro can occur here. You know, you only need the 1 probe to change the hit amount on how quickly you kill things, but extra probes add extra damage. Let's not forget that. They deal 5 damage, and they can block for the Zealot, considering the AI doesn't let your things auto-target probes when there's a Zealot nearby.
Yeah, and having to cancel that creep colony because you can't, it's not going to build faster than 3 probes and a Zealot can hit it. And this is way more than I guess Soulkey is really going to expect. Third Zealot now here. 1 probe and 1 Zealot, or 1 probe, 2 Zealot hits is going to kill a drone. So if you have 3 of each of those, that's just going to make it a lot more interesting. Great drone drill is going to get through everything, glitching out these Zealots, making them less effective.
Yeah, the glitch on that 1 Zealot was fantastic, and he will end up holding because of that.
Finished,
the Sunken was able to finish with a few hit points left over, but the Zealot pressure doesn't have to stop. You can walk around that Sunken.
Yeah, and he's going to send his probes back home. Another Zealot rallied across the map. This is a lot of early pressure that now sort of the shoe, as they say, Artosis, is on the other foot. But great surround there by Soulkey. He's going to be able to take out one of these Zealots.
The other one will eventually be taken out here as well, but more Zealots coming up. He's just trying to keep him as busy as is possible. You know, if you're making your opponent make Zerglings, they are not making drones, and that is one way to hurt an economy.
And really great Zealot control here by Bisu, pulling back the wounded one, making sure that the AI on the Zerglings is as ineffective as possible, and continuing to rally these Zealots across the map.
Yeah, 2 more are coming up right now. He's gaining shields back. Don't forget about that. You get those shields back reasonably quickly. Now the other 2 Zealots coming up. 2 of these Zealots so low, one of them falls.
Yeah, and the last one very low on health is going to be sitting on, I think, 8 HP. Finally regaining those shields. Third hatchery on the way in that back mineral expansion. Bisu's still sticking on 1 base, should be noted.
Yeah, just now getting the gas, but he's got a solid probe count. He's forced so many lings. Look how few drones there are, guys.
Yeah.
It's, what, 4 in the main base and just a handful at the expansion. So he's forced out a hell of a lot of Zerglings. And I think he's not completely unhappy with his rush, but the early part of it definitely could have done a bit better.
Well, there's still a lot of Zealots. Really only like 1 or 2 died early on. So maintaining these Zealot numbers really effective. You're going to get shields back on those, and this next push is going to be a difficult one to hold.
Yeah, he's going to walk a little bit downwards if he does attack in. You don't want to go near that Sunken at all, even though it's like bleeding. It's going to take too much damage. It's too close to the drones to screw up your AI.
Yeah.
So if he were to pressure, he would stay down towards the bottom with his back to the wall.
But instead, Bisu now going to pull back his probe, looking to throw down the Nexus. Yeah, at the back natural. Gasless expansion. So
I'm pretty sure he will add Stargate.
Kind of strange to see from Bisu. I don't think I've seen quite this much of a commitment to early pressure. But expanding behind it, is this going to mean that Bisu is maybe a little bit too far behind, or did he force out enough Zerglings?
I think he forced out enough Zerglings that he's not in like bad trouble or anything, right? Because he's got a hell of a lot of Zealots right now, so eventually he will get into things like +1 and legs, and these Zealots will become very valuable again. For now, they're just going to kind of chill and hold that ramp area while he does go up to Corsair, but this is just kind of the natural next stage.
All right, Zealots, just making sure that there aren't any hidden surprises waiting, no crazy busts or anything like that. Soulkey, in the meantime, finally getting up to droning.
And look at this, he actually finds this 1 Zealot. This is a really cool move. The Zealot sitting up there, you might be like, why is that there? Well, you can actually run this in at some point if the wings come down towards your base or anything, but looks like he'll run by. He thought maybe the Zerglings are gone, but a second Sunken is already down here for Soulkey.
Yeah, Soulkey is going to deny that scout. The Zealot will still see at least the front door. But not a lot of vision out on the map for Bisu. He's going to have these Corsairs coming up in the meantime, and as soon as those do finish, actually Robo on the way.
Yeah, not a big surprise there. Reavers are the splash damage you can get that are mostly mineral-based as far as cost goes. And with 1 gas, you can't actually go for High Templars with Storm. It like just doesn't make sense. It doesn't work. So it looks like the Reaver will be the unit of choice. And of course, you know, having a shuttle is quite good on this map as well.
Yeah, definitely very good. Dropping Dragoons behind mineral lines, it's equally effective. And this Corsair will get a full scout of everything that Soulkey has in store. It's going to show him the entire tech tree, or at least what's available. And yeah, should see shuttle coming out here in the near future.
Now, look, I love this. He's put down 2 cannons here. He's kind of learned, 3 cannons even. He's kind of learned from his mistakes in his previous match against Shine and from watching what Soulkey has done, right? Soulkey's played cheesily as well, although not as trickily, I guess, as a stream or as, you know, Shine. But he sees that this is 3 hatchery play with Hydras and Lings being made. So basically just sitting here and making cannons on top of his ramp, he's never going to be broken.
Overlord will get scouted out there, and this is also that Overlord that you want to look for and take out just in case the Zerg comes up with cheeky drop plays later on. Something that I think after watching Shine play, every Protoss player is a little bit more worried about. Yeah. So got to make sure to take out any of these straggling Overlords. Corsair count up at around 4, it looks like. So here is the shuttle that we were talking about earlier. Probably a Reaver in the near future.
Yeah, now look at this. Very interesting Nexus being taken by Bisu, actually jumping kind of towards Shine's base there.
Yeah.
So wasn't really expecting that, but cool to see. He's going to be able to get a second gas with that, which is incredibly important for him.
Especially going into these High Templar eventually. Wow, 3 cannons up the top. Very sad Zerglings, but at least they'll get to see the shuttle waiting for those Reavers.
Yeah, those Reavers are going to be really, really important to Bisu. We'll get to see just how good his micro is with it, and let me tell you, it is quite good. Soulkey, in the meantime, going up to a 4th hatch, but you know, the 4th hatch is just a little bit late. This is kind of showing his aggressive side, right? If you were going just pure macro play, you'd already have 5 hatches right now.
Yeah, and the Corsairs from Bisu still getting a lot of value. He will pick off another Overlord over there, and as Soulkey moves out with a bunch of these Hydralisks, Corsairs might have even more opportunities to get damage done.
Yeah, now look at this. This base is so tricky. Like, Soulkey has no idea about it. And this attack right here, he's expecting that there probably should be a base being taken right here, but Bisu doesn't need that base right there yet. Like, he needs a second gas, but he's taking it in a funny location that Soulkey's not prepared for. Soulkey's ready to fight over the other base, not this one.
Yeah, and so even maybe Soulkey runs forward, forces a cancel on that base, kills that base. He's like, okay, mission accomplished. I'm in a great spot. Well, no, you're not. Taking into account that extra base in the upper right or upper left-hand corner, so will be interesting. I don't think Soulkey's even scouted that yet, so it's gonna be secret.
Yeah, it's really cool that he has a scout. Like, this is just kind of a, you don't expect that as often on this map from Bisu, but he's playing a very solid game. Looks like he is going to end up taking this base and just kind of sitting back. And you know, Soulkey, I don't think he can really break it. If he truly makes just nothing but units and kind of all-ins on it, maybe he can, but as long as those Reavers kind of stay alive, you're not killing Bisu anytime soon.
Soulkey, in the meantime, teching to, he's got lurkers on the way, Spire, also under construction, and coming out of the map with a ton of Hydra lurker, and it looks like it's going to be a drop.
Yeah, Bisu not quite ready for this. His Corsair is well out of position. Not sure exactly where his Reavers are at the moment, but look at this. The drop is in the main. Once again, double underlining that he doesn't know about Bisu's expansion at the top left.
Yeah, otherwise that would definitely be a great drop opportunity. Going to be putting a whole lot of lurker Hydra all the way in Bisu's main. He's got the Reaver up in the front, now bringing it back with the shuttle. Can he get the shots off that he needs to take out this drop?
Well, he's going to be able to clear these Hydras, and there is an Observer very, very importantly. That's going to allow him to take out all the lurkers, and this did pretty close to not enough.
But now coming in with the second prong of this harassment, a drop down at the mineral-only base to the south. And this will not go quite as well for Bisu.
Yeah, that one definitely doing a lot better for Soulkey, but the fact that Bisu still has that top left base.
Bisu getting careless. He's going to lose almost every single Corsair.
Ooh, that makes it really possible to do a Mutalisk tech switch as well. You don't want to fight against Mutas with just Dragoons, and he does have a Spire already, so definitely something that Bisu's going to have to look out for after that sloppy loss of 3 of his 4 Corsairs.
Yeah, how many Dragoons does Bisu have? I think he has 1.
Probably not very many, yeah.
Yeah, probably going to be very little, so very little anti-air there. He's got some cannons at his front, but overall just not a whole lot there either. And with the elimination of that base, that will put Bisu back on 3.
Still no upgrade for
Nice drop
attack.
in the Hydras, just to make sure the Overlord is protected.
Yeah. But by the way, like if he had, with that
Позже
first drop,
крутился,
known about the
видимо,
top
поздно
left base and just
сказал.
dropped there, Soulkey would be way ahead right now.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Instead, Bisu's sitting here with 3 gases, so it's not that bad.
Oh no, a double lurker drop.
Again.
Kills so many probes. Gonna start to get those big hits, and oh, a huge explosion.
Getting 7 of those probes right there, but Bisu pulls reasonably quickly. Uh-oh,
8
Soulkey
kills for
attacking
Lurker.
into the front base as well. The Hydra's actually being dropped here and taking out that shuttle rather quickly.
Goes down. There's more Hydras up at the front. Reaver shots do need to be good, but it looks like they are not quite as good as Bisu wanted. Now coming back and again targeting down one of the Reavers.
Okay, he's still dropping here. He's going after another Reaver. Uh-oh, no Scarabs on this one. That is an expensive unit to be losing right there. A very important one indeed.
Tell you, the first lesson Professor Tasteless taught me was hit that R button on the Reavers. Got to build up all those Scarabs, and Scarabless Reaver is just about as useless as a Scarabless Reaver, Artosis.
Yeah, there's not much worse than that. Or maybe a Scarabless Reaver without a shuttle is pretty
Okay,
bad
well,
as
there
well.
you go.
But,
And there's the muta tech switch you were talking about. No Corsairs in the air, no Dragoons on the ground, or very few. Gonna make mutas pretty good.
Yeah, he's gonna need to really cannon up and turtle for a moment here. Bisu can still recover though. He's on 3 gases, and that's like a very important number of gases for Protoss.
Well,
so I don't want to call it over yet. And luckily, he sees these mutas before they connect with his base at all.
Yeah. Necessary to take out those 2 Zealots to protect that base, which is pretty exposed down to the south. But revealing these mutas early on gives Bisu a little time to prepare for them. Indeed, he will be sending those Dragoons down. There's only 3 Dragoons against a pretty easy controlled group of mutas.
Okay, a few more Dragoons coming down. All he needs to do is push them back while these cannons are making. Cannons are beefy enough to kind of help ward off these mutas as well. And as long as he buys time to reproduce some of these Corsairs.
Oh, man. Taking out that cannon. There's no anti here. Try getting Dragoons all the way back there. I dare you. It's not going to happen.
It's very tough indeed. And in fact, he's just going to go ahead and do a counterattack. I don't see any lurkers here, which is going to make this hold a lot more difficult for Soulkey.
Yeah, and there is a shuttle with Reavers that those Scarabs are going to be able to take down this sunken. Yeah, and there it goes. There's not a lot here to defend. It's only Hydras.
Oh man, this Reaver doing a fantastic job. He's got to bring those Mutalisks back, and in fact, they are on their way right now.
Yeah,
here they come.
Sniping down this Reaver. It will get taken out. There's a lot of Dragoons and more Hydras coming in from behind.
Oh, it looks like there is going to be enough from Soulkey to hold on against this. Dragoons being micro to perfection, and in fact, he will get out with a high number of them, I think.
Or will he, Artosis? Mutas coming up. There are in high numbers. Dragoons falling one by one. Bisu will lose his entire army.
Yeah, that's a tough one there. A tough pill to swallow.
Actually,
he really tried to get something done.
Pretty
Got the mutas
support
off his
units, you
back
can't
for the time
just...
being, but
It's
does
a
he have the splash
universal
damage
unit,
that
but
he
it's
needs to
a
deal with these
support
incoming
unit.
Hydras?
Oh,
pretty
I don't
expensive.
know about that, Artosis. Corsairs will be pushed
Can't
back
just
behind
go
this
with
cannon
under
line.
them.
Lots of Hydras pressuring, and there's just nothing here to defend. GG! Bisu taps out Soulkey, takes game number 2.
I mean, it was a well-played game by Soulkey. He didn't know about that top left base and still was able to win, so that definitely speaks to his power overall. A lot of times, if someone takes a base you don't know about and you never learn about it, you end up losing and wondering why, and it's that base. But in this case, able to take down Bisu anyways. Definitely a few key moments of that game, like for instance losing those 3 Corsairs. If he has 4 Corsairs flying around, you're not going to do the Needless Tech Switch most likely. Of course, that Needless Tech Switch kind of forcing Bisu to pull the trigger and go attack immediately. The drop that Soulkey did, of course, at the mineral base, that was fantastic. You know, some good moves.
Yeah, this really does give us a series on our hands. Tied up at 1-1, Soulkey really showing that he definitely has what it takes to take out the Revolutionists. And that's going to send us into a quick break before we get into our 3rd game. There is still time, guys, to get out there and tell your friends to come watch Bisu take on Soulkey. Game 3 is coming up next.
Рекламу смотреть не буду. Skipnims. Let's skip ads. Andromeda. Старая добрая Andromeda. Third match on Andromeda. Уже еще финал посмотрим, но, наверное, перерыв сделаю. Хотя бы, да, у нас еще 2 игры. У нас еще 2 игры здесь.
Welcome back. We're tied up 1-1 in the third place match, Bisu against Soulkey. Soulkey showing some good skill in that last game, being able to take down Bisu.
Yeah, just a couple of little missteps. I think the biggest one, losing all of his Corsairs, really allowed Soulkey to make exactly the correct decision, tech switching the Mutalist, and take out Bisu's army.
Certainly you're right about that. Drops being a big hindrance in Bisu's side as of late in TVZ. Will that be the case here once again? We're going into Andromeda, and this is a map where your main base is like as big as some other maps. So it's pretty difficult. You can't just defend against the drop. It's not so easy.
Especially if you're going to be using Dragoons to do that. You saw an illustration where Bisu just did not have the ability to get back into his base to defend. A lot of that Mutalist harass, his drops and his mineral line very effective as well, but we'll find out if Soulkey can take an advantage over Bisu as we get into game number 3 on Andromeda.
Уверен, там шуточки на Твиче бы посыпались, не бы осыпались, типа gimme holes и так далее. ГЛХФ. Никто уже не пишет. Пишут ГГ, go.
Here we go.
We have a series on our hands. Our red Protoss player, the Revolutionist, it's Bisu. And his opponent on the other side of the map in the brown...
The Zerg colors.
Yeah, in the
playing
Zerg colors.
Soulkey.
Playing Soulkey, yeah.
It's Bisu. All right.
Oh my goodness. An OG versus a Neo-G in Brood War.
Look at you.
Yep, here we go.
You killed my probe.
My probe. Don't set him off.
Nice.
Did you watch John Wick?
I did.
I only watched John Wick 2. I never saw the first one, actually.
I'm a hashtag big fan of that movie. Now, I mean,
it's great action porn.
It's like, yeah, exactly. That's exactly
Except the part
what it
of
is.
the subway station.
Okay, well.
That part. Oh, my God.
Well, Yeah, I think a lot of people kind of misjudge what that movie is supposed to be. It's supposed to be like very gratuitous, and like I love myself like watching Soulkey for Pool Flash. Like that is gratuitous. You're watching a great player get destroyed by a build that you will lose to hundreds of times on the ladder. It's just gonna happen, and no, you're not watching the pinnacle of macro play in the world. No, you're watching somebody get destroyed. It's fun, and that movie does it a lot. Big fan, but also big fan of that poster. Very well put together.
Yeah, it was a good one. So, yeah.
A lot of good posters this last few days.
He's been the one making them.
Yeah,
so.
big fan.
All right, Probe finds him right away. Of course, Overlord is going directly towards Bisu as well.
Pylon on the low ground to wall off for Bisu. So
yeah, nothing too crazy going on here. The last time they played here, though, Rapid, you were just re-watching that before we started today. Can you fill us in?
I mean, basically, Bisu went for a little bit of a greedy third Nexus early, and Soulkey was able to punish him by busting in early to the natural before there were enough Psy Storms. He dodges the first one with his Hydras, and it turns out there's just not a whole lot left when you've spent all your minerals and your money making bases.
Yeah, it definitely can happen from time to time. But Bisu, I'm sure, is learned from these mistakes and will be prepared.
Yeah, it just never happens. You're seeing these players make the same kind of mistake twice. It's like, okay, I did this build and I lost. Let's just like try that one again. Sometimes if you do just lose to your ramp just being a pixel off on the block, you're just like, okay, well that's never going to happen. Maybe try for the salty run back and do it again, but most likely not going to see the same mistakes twice from Bisu here.
Well, he's just scouting at the moment, throwing up that cannon, of course, getting his wall in worked on. Soulkey just now taking the gas, has his 3 hatches up. This is pretty standard. Nothing too much to say about it at the moment. Kakaroo flying near the cannon.
What would our games be without a Kakaroo? And
Kakaroos are important.
Yeah? Not as important as Panda Bear guys, but they're up there.
I don't like Panda Bear guys.
Panda Bear guys just chilling out. Kakaroo actually just like flies in. You see it out of the corner of your eye. You think it's a Mutalisk at 2 minutes in. You're like, what?
It can mess you up a bit.
Always kill the Kakaroos.
Truly, Kakaroos are second-tier critters. It's really all about the Bengalis, and I'm sure old Brood War players know what I'm talking about with that, man. It's all the Bengalis, man. It's half purple, half red. I don't know how he evolved like that, but it's
That is truly. Talk about how complex the human eye is. The most complicated organ in the body, and how
is it?
Yeah, it is
really?
the statistic or the
more
actual,
than the brain.
Yeah, more complicated than the brain. More moving parts, more kinds of cool stuff going on.
Huh.
Just like everything that had to go together for that to be a thing
Again,
that
this
exists.
talks bullshit.
And Bengalis next level. So.
Yeah, well, the Bengalis has eyes plus.
Oh yeah,
he is purple and red. So explain that science.
Beyond in the process.
Yeah.
Humans never quite got to the purple and red point.
No, they didn't. That's why sometimes you see people paint themselves in such a way.
They're just trying to get there. Sorry guys, that's not how it works.
The Bengalis is kind of, the Kakaroo is kind of...
Эффект of Dunning-Kruger. Во все поля, эффект Dunning-Krugera.
Somebody knows exactly the reason why the Bengalis are purple and red. It's like, well, you see in the Corporaloo sector when they were evolving 10,000 years ago.
The most important thing I think about Brood War HD is we get to actually see if the Kakaroo has legs.
Yeah, as soon
Can it land theoretically? Because it never lands in the game.
If they upgrade the critters to be like HD critters,
стандарт,
that can also have more animations and stuff, that will truly blow my mind. We finally had the technology, 20 years after Brood War has been released, to have HD critters in our games. How truly far have we come as a society?
Yeah, it's a great world that we live in.
Indeed it is. It gets greater every day that Brood War is on, which is going to be, I think, 4 to 5 days in a row. I think Soulkey will be playing every one of those days. So, good time to be alive. All right, so let's talk about exactly what we've had happen. Players have been building bases and probes and stuff.
Yeah, so this is 3 hatcheries right now for Soulkey. Notice Bisu's adding a secondary cannon at the moment. He hasn't made another Nexus or anything yet. He does already have his Citadel up, right? So he can get his Zalt legs, and he's adding more cannons. All he needs to do right now
is get these cannons warped in. This is so important. Soulkey looks like he just wants to try to bust in here on the three hatches.
And this is very reminiscent of the last time these two players played on this map. Now, the difference is that Bisu has made that crucial tweak to his build and not gone for a triple expansion. So even though his Storm is going to be a little bit late, he does have a big push to defend against.
Yeah, now this Corsair is going to be sacrificed a little bit. It will get targeted down, but all he needs to do is buy time for these cannons. If he skips killing the Corsair, then there's an Overlord and a DT can clear everything. But as these cannons finish up,
Хотя экономика все равно на Soulkey работает, но зато преимущество по тысячу будет.
Hatchery
Bisu
here
очень
for
большое.
Soulkey might have realized already that he is not as likely to break Bisu this time.
Yeah, now going forward, the idea is that you dive in with the Hydras, try to snipe these cannons off. The Xel'naga getting on top of your Hydras never something you want to do.
Yeah, you got to actually target down those Zealots. More and more cannons on the way. Those cannons kind of protecting these cannons. Another Corsair pops out. That High Templar Archives is going to be finishing. Yeah, there it is. So he can go into Storm. He can go get a DT possibly. But there is an Overlord there, so kind of annoying in that regard.
So probably going to be Storm. You can see probes pulled just to make sure that these last couple of cannons can warp in.
Yeah.
They will complete. And, you know, this might look a little bit weird that you're just spamming cannons at your natural expansion. Because I think a lot of new players do this. They're just like, oh, cannons are good. Let me just build a bunch of them. But here in pro-level play, this is actually just because the most important part of this game is just hanging on until you get Storm.
That's right. Like, the Hydras are just so strong. If you're playing against, like, slow Zealots, Dragoons are not good. Just to put this out there, it's like a hard thing to explain to people, but Dragoons lose against everything. They're like a support unit. So you actually need these cannons to stay alive. And notice how he's now taking that third Nexus. He's got enough cannons up. He's going to have Psystorm. He's going to have legs. And this is looking good for him. Soulkey, once again, you know, pulling the trigger and not getting a kill.
Yeah, very, very crucially different here. So Bisu, like we were talking about at the beginning of the game, has definitely learned from the last time they played here. Same situation last time, and Bisu lost because he was too greedy early on. He's figured out exactly how much he needs to hang on until that Storm is up and ready, and now he is in a great spot with a third base on the way.
Yeah, he's scouting all the time right now, just flying around with these Corsairs. Soulkey hasn't even started upgrades yet, and when he has legs and a nice amount of Zealots and some Storms mixed in, Soulkey's going to start to have a hard time. This is a very late addition of the 2 hatches to make it a 5-hatch Hydra.
Более интересных игр. То есть нет традиционных, тем не менее, но очень красиво. Разумных решений, такие принимал
there on a pylon, but Soulkey very aware. This third base coming up is his hatchery.
Pandora box of builds.
Soulkey just trying to do anything right now to gain any sort of little edge, even poking down a cannon that's warping to protect this mineral line, but it won't last for very long. Look at this, a Psystorm being prepared for these 4 Hydras.
I think you might actually just try to drop it over the ledge in case those Hydras are not being paid attention to. Try to keep an eye on that. Our observer going to go ahead and show us that as soon as these probes start to take damage.
Oh, by the way, about this base that Soulkey's taking, this is a good moment to kind of teach people.
Yeah.
So that base he's taking is the natural. If this was a ZVT, you'd see him take the main base. And he'd be taking the main base, most likely, so that he could guard on the ramp. It would be a lot earlier, of course, than we see right here, but you need the ramp to stop Marines from running up with lurkers at the top here. Right. You take that base. If he can secure that, he can do it kind of, he could have a SimCity there, like with an extra hatch. He could have some sunks, maybe a spore there. But if he can secure that, he gets a free base behind it.
Yeah, and so you'll progress to a point in the game where all you have to do is just defend that, and then as successful as your defense is there, if it is successful, you just put a base behind it, and you're already going to be dug in. So.
Yeah.
All right, so our first few drones will be maynarded over there. It still looks a little bit weird to have that caravan in the middle of the map. Corsairs are out, and Bisu having to kill off a few of his cannons. Their usefulness is past.
Yep, he needs the actual flow of his army in here at this point. Legs just barely not done. I'm sure these would be finishing in just a second, or he wouldn't even be prepped to move out.
And look at these perfectly cloned Corsairs. There's a shuttle on the map. You'll see that with an Overlord. Dropping a probe to take the 6 o'clock.
Yeah, so if he can set that up, that's going to be fantastic with a third gas. The Scourge coming down, trying to get this shuttle.
Oh, and they will. Right on top. Nothing there to defend it.
Just slightly
why can't I think of sloppy? There you go. Slightly sloppy from Bisu. He could have clicked that back to the cannons maybe and saved it, but I guess it's not small. He lost his shuttle. That sucks, but
yeah,
small mistake here from Bisu.
Bisu also lost what looks like quite a few probes at his third base. Lurker was morphed there on the low ground, was able to shoot those spines up. Now, if I'm correct, like lurkers shooting spines onto high ground still get affected by the miss chance, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I wish Splash would just hit high ground, man. Oh my god.
Yeah. Unfortunately, no.
Yeah, not the case.
This is not a thing.
Looks like his legs are actually still not done. I guess he got those a little bit later. Let's not forget his natural gas did get sniped momentarily. Now, there are those colonies going up at that base on the top right. So that's kind of what I was talking about before. He can really turtle that up and take the bases behind it for free. And if he has these 2 locations, that's 6 bases between them. That's huge.
Oh, now Bisu moving out on the map now, catching a few Hydras. This is not going to be totally a bad thing, but Soulkey does have to head for the hills and get into a better position.
Yeah, he's running all of his units over into one central location right now, meeting up with them towards his top right base. He wants to make sure he can keep this alive. Will Bisu continue to push in that direction or turn around towards where all the hatches are? And look at that. Oh, man. Ooh. That type of location, to break that is incredibly difficult on so many levels. Having the spore there already makes it really hard to just keep your observer alive, which is the only thing that Protoss has that can detect those lurkers. And of course, Scourge going after, Hydra's going after. Look at this. Good micro, though, by Bisu so far.
Yeah, and now Bisu may be a little bit less prepared here at the entrance to his natural, Soulkey, rather, but Bisu's still going to try to press through, take out that spore colony at the front, and with it, going to keep his observers in a pretty decent spot. Now, flying Scourge right into the storm. That's a little bit too much turbulence. They're going to take it out. Great Storm's in the front, but Hydra's coming in from behind, trying to take out these Dragoons.
Well, a few Zealots running up now from the main base, quite a few, in fact, and Archon morphing as well. He's still doing all right. It looks like he could end up breaking this base. That is a lot of Protoss units. But those Sunkins on the high ground really doing a lot of work.
Zergling's on the top, and now Lurkers burrowed in from behind. Storms will catch a couple, but these spines are actually going to be pretty effective there. Now drones drilling through these Zealots, trying to keep them from getting damage done, but Bisu continuing to rally units across the map, and a huge storm on the high ground takes out every single drone.
Fantastically done, that Lurkrag, not going to block the Zealots that are still running up. Way too much Protoss entering Soulkey's base at the moment. He's still trying to hold on. He has so many hatcheries. If he can just kill these units off, he might be all right, but Bisu continues to just hit his macro.
And as far away as those other bases are for Soulkey, the reinforcements take quite a while to get there. That time is too long, and Bisu takes game number 3.
Wow. Once again, Bisu showing just kind of the superior defense. Soulkey trying a 3-hatch Hydra bus. Bisu scouting it, getting those cannons up, sacrificing probes when he needs to, and just rolling Soulkey afterwards.
This is that scary point where you see, like, you kill off the aliens and then they come back, and previously you've just shot them with arrows, but now you shoot them with an arrow, they've evolved armor plating. Bisu learned from his previous play on that map against Soulkey, makes the necessary changes, and winds up taking it out.
Yeah, that was super well done by Bisu. Really kind of showing how to stay alive, staying calm the whole time, even though like he's losing probes at his mineral base and all these things. He's lost a gateway, had to pull probes multiple times against the Hydra bus, but no, man, he keeps his calmness, his coolness, and his composure, and thus leads the series now 2-1. Losing on Outsider, of course, as we saw. That's a very tough map for PvZ, but Andromeda is too, and he took that one down.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Bisu, man.
I just love that we've been trading games back and forth. Neither player has just looked totally outclassed. And this is truly the great moments of Brood War that are made when two players come at very similar skill levels against each other. Now, I mean, it's hard to root against Bisu. I think Soulkey is a very strong Zerg player. But now we start to go back onto our other maps. I think the next one coming up is going to be Camelot.
But Bisu is one of the greatest Protoss
players. Map is decided one way or another. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back with that game number 4.
Окей. Рекламу смотреть опять же не будем. догнал. За третье место 2700 баксов. Там 3 миллиона корейских вон. Это 2700 баксов где-то. За второй 4500, за первый 800 тысяч. 18 тысяч. Там 17 700 где-то на самом деле. Но 20 миллионов, 5 миллионов, 3 миллиона, 2 миллиона. Точнее, за четвертый и дальше. Что? Не, за пятый, восьмой 450. Да уж, как сторка вылетела. Ну что, получил свою соточку. Так, следующая карта у нас Cellot. Причем это новый Cellot, да, это новый Cellot. Так что я о нем мало что могу рассказать. Версия 1.6. 128/96. Но это дуэльная карта.
In the false that he's done overcoming his previous loss and now turning it into a win on that Andromeda map. Says it's on the Camelot, and you know, I actually said it was a little bit even. Looked up the stats during the break, and currently it's 6-2 in Zerg's favor on Camelot. So that actually looks pretty good. But it is, of course, all about the players playing their races. And when it comes to Bisu versus Zerg players, it's always a hard person to root against just because of how proven he is in that matchup.
Well, he's the greatest of all time. Yeah, he got wiped out by Shine, but so has everyone else that has really gone against Shine recently. Shine has been there too much of a mastermind almost. But Soulkey, while he's a little bit tricky and very good at his aggressive plays and strong as a macro player as well, it's not as like wildly out there as Shine's plays, right? And that's why Bisu's having an easier time against him. Soulkey's not like, the moves Soulkey is doing are predictable to some degree at least, and Bisu's doing well against that.
We'll see if he can do well enough to take this series home. He is on match point. We are on Camelot, coming in game number 4.
Зачем такую реально музыку ставить, когда в Ост StarCraft просто шикарнейший? Поставьте Ост из StarCraft.
And here we are on Camelot, our new map for ASL, and this is the Protoss player Bisu. His opponent
ничего выдумывать.
Playing as Zerg is Soulkey. Got it right this time.
Yeah.
Truly my victory. All right. It's the little things, Artosis.
Yeah. Too many space tile set maps, by the way.
Yeah, I was actually noticing that. Where are my Twilight tile maps at? I'm a little bit...
Where are my desert bros at? Okay, that's what I like. I love the desert tile set. It's actually funny because the different the different tile sets give you different features in certain ways. Like there's certain ramps that only exist on some tile sets.
Certain trees?
Sure, that too, but I'm talking like balance shifting things.
Okay. Well, I mean, there are mischances under trees, Artosis.
That is true. That is true. I do not disagree with that. Any doodad you can park something under will give you that high ground
advantage. The map
advantage.
has bigger critters. Maybe that's better. I don't know.
But
Panda bear guy helping you out.
Yeah, those kakaroos, very important.
Yeah.
Make you think an Overlord's scouting you right off the bat. But I don't know. I'd love to see some different tile sets next season.
Is that your favorite tile set, desert tile set?
I generally like desert tile set and the way it looks. Generally speaking, it is a hard tile set for Terran. Yeah. I know that might sound crazy to people, but the ramps are pretty wide on desert tile sets a lot of the time.
You guys are really just looking for some
These are
Johns,
tile
make
sets
it
is
about
my
the tile set.
unfavorite, probably.
If Fighting Spirit was in Twilight tile set, let me just go for that.
I tell you, give me Luna on jungle, and I'll play it all day, man. But Luna on
Jungle on this one is
Twilight,
pretty
no,
nice.
thank you.
No.
Imho.
These are the struggles we deal with,
Oh
Artosis.
man,
The difficulties of our lives.
I got opinions on everything, man. On this. Okay, so this is a reasonably quick pool out
Who
of Soulkey
cares
here.
about
Yeah,
those
gonna
opinions,
go
though?
for what looks like, I guess that was 9 pool, and then trying to expand it. Yeah, he's going to take this far expansion. This is kind of interesting to see.
Yeah, that is. I wonder, right, this is a gateway by Bisu, so there are some things that this can do for you, right? Like, if you send your Zealots over there, you're, like, pressuring your naked hatchery. If you send your Zealots to harass the main base, they're actually, like, overcommitting in a way, so... I don't know if that actually has anything to do with why he's expanded out there first, but it could. It's something that comes to my mind.
Yeah, so... forward gateway, going to produce the Cellot. It's going to get it across the map a little bit faster. Now, this hatchery is forward position. I mean, if you do make Zerglings there, they're going to be produced closer to your opponent's base if you want to go for that rush. But I don't think that's what Soulkey is going to go for here. He's got a third hatchery on the way.
Yeah. See, what is this Zealot supposed to be doing here?
It's
right?
totally not
This
about
hatchery
rush
was, like,
against this guy.
already done. Maybe,
No
maybe
idea
there'd be
what he's
drones that
talking
he could
about.
attack. But as of this moment, he just kind of has to get out of there.
Surround. Very slippery. Oh my god, he stopped the Zealot for a second there, and will allow the Zerglings to eventually run forward, surround the Zealot, and take it out.
Yeah, that Zealot is going to go down. Definitely not worth...
but can he kill it before he reveals that there's a hatchery up here? And it looks like the answer is no.
Nice.
So get that scouting information.
Сделал свою работу.
I
Не
guess
зря
at least Zealot
подыхал.
got a little bit done at the end of the day. More
Собственно,
Zerglings
для
have
этого
actually
это и
already been
делалось.
hatched here. 4 more on top of the 6 out on the map. That's quite a few lings as of this moment.
Yeah,
Чтобы
and,
было
this should
непонятно,
definitely tell
собственно,
Bisu that
где
there is
ещё-то,
at least something non-standard
что это за билд,
afoot,
ну и
seeing
так
that
далее.
hatchery already completed. Way out
Если
there.
позже играть.
He's going to be thinking about that as he does now block his wall successfully.
Yeah, and he's thrown down a cannon, so this isn't going to really do anything. This is a full wall. He has enough. He has the extra Zealot to poke lings, so he can't even lose the gateway or anything. So Bisu is
4 минуты. По таймингу
solid
все.
here. Still
Газ
chasing that
достроился,
probe.
фотонка есть, стенка,
And of course,
всё.
this is where it becomes... Okay, that's kind of weird having that drone there, but...
Like, that is not where you make your macro hatch, guys.
This is the moment where I think Soulkey is probably regretting the fact he hasn't killed this probe yet, because as long as the probe can keep poking in, you can't really 3-hatch Hydra. We saw what happened when he 3-hatch Hydra when Bisu had an idea about it, right? It got slammed by the cannons, so with this probe still being alive, this makes it kind of difficult for Soulkey.
Finally grabbing that drone, sending it back to mine as now 3 Zealots do stream across the map. Some harassing Zerglings, delaying them, and just making it a little bit difficult. But man, Bisu's probe's still alive, and he'll be able to see everything that's coming his way.
Yeah, and I think he has a good idea now that this is going to be some more hatches coming up pretty quickly here from Soulkey. That drone, like, when it's sitting there like that, a lot of times means that you try to make the hatchery, but then accidentally spent too many minerals. Okay, he actually sends it to mine now.
That might also be because that probe was just coming right back, so he didn't want to get the scout, so we might see it be thrown up here in a second, but it looks like that is not the case. Lots of Zerglings out early for Soulkey, and a Hydra Den now on the way.
Nice
Yeah, this
decision.
could be a 3-hatch Hydra again, but the
So he
Hydra
just
Den
put Gidra
feels a
Den on the
little bit
third
late to
exit.
me here, so I'm not 100% sure on what Soulkey's game plan is here. Okay, there goes the
Another
4th hatch
hatchery.
finally.
Yeah. So 4 hatcheries, or 4th one now on the way.
Bisu plays
Still kind of a little bit
pretty
interested in that expansion order, taking that third. See how that works out. But at least the wall, the hold
They
early
both
on, Bisu
play
kind of
pretty standard.
untested at this point in the game. See what he has to react to, and from Bisu's
Just,
perspective, he kept his
the
probe
third
alive
exp
pretty,
hatch was,
for a pretty long
again,
time. He sent that Zealot out and got at least the scout
just to
on
make
timing there for the
Bisu ponder
hatchery.
what the
And he
hell
should at
Soulkey
least
is
know
doing,
what's
but he
coming
found
his
it
way
out.
as far as like theoretically, but he has yet to really scout all these Hydras.
Yeah, if he just rallies Hydras out, like, I mean, I don't think he's going to be able to do it quite quickly enough, right? Because the Hydra's Den just finished. He's just making them at this moment. The Corsair should have enough intel. Look at this. He's pushing back this Overlord that's already taking a lot of damage. And sees how many units are out here, so he's starting to add those cannons.
And yeah, with Hydras
Причем
up
не обязательно
and,
даже all-in.
in front of his front door, which is generally where in front of things would be. Bisu's going to start adding a bunch of cannons as a Dragoon out there in the front, and a bunch of Zealots to block this. So, I don't know. This is kind of interesting, Artosis. And it's, oh no, Bisu losing his early Corsairs. Let's keep them both alive there. So.
Yeah, he's actually, that's a good thing he's kept those alive so far, but he sees how many Overlords are here. So with this many, you can't really risk making a Dark Templar. It's going to be a big waste. And he continues to warp in cannons because Soulkey continues to rally up units. So if you're just going to rally Hydras non-stop, that's just going to tell Bisu to defend, defend, and eventually get Storm and legs.
Yeah, Corsairs now go on their harassment mission. Trying to get more scouting information, see just how many Hydras are rallied across the map. Looks like there continue to be reinforcements here. Whoa! It's going to sunken push him.
Yeah, this is a possibility for like a very hard contain coming up. This is something I definitely was not expecting to see, but we'll see if it works out. The Hydra's right now kiting those Zealots. Nice micro by Soulkey. Bisu does have to run back.
Is that for the Sunkens or is just there for reinforcements?
Oh, that's going to be, I think he'll make Sunkens, yeah.
Okay.
I would imagine.
All right.
If you do this, like if you make some Sunkens and Spores near their base and then like burrow a couple Lurkers, Protoss, like trying to break that, try to break that.
So this is actually...
Tell me how that goes for you.
This is the first strat that I lost to in Brood War. When my friend brought over the CD for us to install on my HP laptop, this is what he did to me. And I still have PTSD to this day about it. So these are going to scout. This hatchery being made, and while the Zealots will be able to push these Hydras back, they will fall eventually.
Yeah, this is actually a little bit bloody here for Soulkey, losing a lot more Hydras than he wants to at this moment. More Zealots still rallying out, and Soulkey being really punished for trying to be cheesy once again.
Yeah, very few Zerglings here for Soulkey. He's made primarily just Hydralists. Hydras don't do too well when they get run over by speedlots.
Yeah, not just this, but he's now been able to, because of these Zealots, clear every Overlord. So we could have a Dark Templar pop out and truly ruin his day.
Also, Drone was killed as it was coming up to make a creep colony at this hatchery. So unless he morphs that larva into it, there's just too many speedlots here for Bisu.
Yeah, Bisu is just really schooling Soulkey right now. Soulkey trying to micro back at the moment. He's got those 4 hatches at home producing, but his 5th hatch so close to Bisu that if he loses it, that's a big chunk of his production, don't forget.
I mean, these are, my boy Reach out there, the original man-lot maker. These are pretty manly, running completely over Soulkey right now. That base is not going to last very long. 6 gateways and the High Templar Archives already on the way. Soulkey, man, might have overextended just a little bit.
Yeah, and losing that hatchery. Right now, this is definitely very Bisu favored. He's killed so many of these Hydras. Oh my god. Soulkey just doesn't look like he's ever going to get the critical mass he needs to deal with this.
Yeah, nothing to stand between these speedlots and the Hydralists finally will be pushed back, but continuing to lose Overlords. More and more speedlots rallied across the map, and nothing really to stop them. These Lurkers will not be in time.
Yeah, he's going to be able to just charge right over all of these Hydralisks. And this is looking so bad for Soulkey. Just really, he was a day late and $1 short on this strategy.
Yeah,
looks like GG
maybe
actually.
Another 30 seconds and he can get up what he needs to for defenses. But now having to pull these drones, and drones are really good against Zealots. They can glitch them out, but can they do it enough? Looks like the answer is probably not.
Yeah, just pure speed Zealots right now, destroying the economy and the army of Soulkey. Lurkers come up finally, but just runs right past in that main base.
And these Zealots will kill anything and everything. Spawning pool basically dead already. Lurkers will finally come up here to try make these Zealots' life a little bit more short-lived, but they can get so much damage done in the meantime.
They truly can, pushing those Zealots back for the time being. You know, I guess Soulkey, obviously, he's not going to just give up immediately. He's trying to get something done, but look at this. He's being denied gas. He's lost a good amount of drones. He's lost most of his army, his spawning pool.
Oh, and here here are those Dark Templar that you mentioned earlier. Lots of Overlords have been killed, and Soulkey is still trying to recover from having these speedlots just ravage his base.
Yeah, this has done a lot of damage to him and kept him quite busy as well. So
nice
he's
micro,
can kind of do whatever he wants on the map right now as well.
Anymore.
0 upgrades against that +1, like truly everything in Bisu's favor right here.
And now an Overlord just trying to come hunt down this DT. The first one should be able to get taken out. And yeah, there it does finally fall. But with all these Corsair numbers continuing to persist for Bisu, more Overlords will get taken out, and that will increase the value of these upcoming Dark Templar.
Yeah, look at this. Now, Soulkey playing a little bit desperately. Notice he pokes down the Observer immediately so that he can get his lurkers to work. That's basically going to be the rest of the game for Soulkey. He has to kill all the observers over and over because he cannot win straight up with these kind of small armies against what Bisu has.
Yeah, of course, there's continuing to poke forward, and at the same time, with the Zealots moving forward, that means that you can't just use these Hydras to take out the Corsairs. They're going to get taken down far too quickly. Now, more Hydras coming up from behind to reinforce here, but Soulkey just doesn't have what it takes to take out these upgraded Zealots.
Oh, you know what's kind of interesting? I think that Bisu actually skipped Psystorm in this game. When he realized just how aggressive that Soulkey was becoming, it looks like he wanted to just kind of bulldoze him over. And this is why we're seeing a lot of Archons, which it is something you don't see that often, just because when they do hit a critical mass of Hydras, you know, obviously like a ball of units that have range are going to have higher DPS than like a wave of Zealots. So actually, Soulkey's still a little bit in this, trying to get something done with these Hydras.
Gonna drop a bunch of Hydras over here. Now is where we find out if he has Psystorm. Whoa, picking up all of those Hydras. It doesn't look like that storm is there.
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, it's definitely, we haven't seen a single Psystorm yet this game. The first High Templars that aren't meeting the Archons are showing themselves, though.
Lots of Overlords have been taken out. I think Soulkey might have been momentarily supply blocked there, but now with even more popping back home and these up there in the front just to detect, Soulkey's got to put something together, Artosis, because nothing has been working out so far. Indeed, nothing will work out. That's going to be it. GG, and Bisu will take a 3-1 victory over Soulkey to take third place.
Well, nice games, but
kind of exactly what I
like they were not super beautiful, very like interesting. But yeah, of course, great performance.
Bisu was able to study the way that Soulkey played against Best, and he played counter to it very, very strongly, and especially in Andromeda game where Soulkey previous map, he just prepared for this. His style, you were talking about that a lot of the game, a lot better than what we saw from him before. So Bisu showing his class above Soulkey here.
Absolutely, you know, for maybe temporary class, permanent, and very evident there. I think when Bisu pushes out and sees that proxy hatchery, that has happened to him like so many times. Not the proxy hatch, but the idea that players are going to try to do weird stuff against you, and you have to be able to defend against it, and he does masterfully. So let's go ahead and hear from Bisu. So congratulations, how do you feel about taking third place in ASL? He says, yeah, I'm not actually that happy. I feel like I should have made it to the finals, so I still feel a little bit disappointed, even though I was able to win.
Не так уж он и доволен, потому что в финал не попал за третье место. Не очень недоволен.
So it really affected my games. I was going into the games, I was very at peace and was able to play all of my games very well. So after you lost in the round of 4, was it hard to gather yourself for today's matches? He said, yeah, I sort of disappeared after that match. But I tried not to dwell on it. All I was thinking about is just trying to play the games, be comfortable, and not think about those losses too much.
That's right, no need to think about losses.
So do you feel like you've gotten stronger now through all of this? He said, last season, I ended up top 8, and this season I was taking top 4, and so next season I'm going to be making it to the finals.
네, 이번 시즌은 이제 3위로 마무리를 하셨잖아요. 정말 좋았던 점도 있고 아쉬웠던 점도 있을 것 같아요.
So you concluded the season in third place. There must be a memorable moment for you and some disappointing moments so far through this tournament.
듀얼 토너먼트 방식이라고 하죠. 그런 그 게임에서 이기고 또 16강에서
So before, when I advanced to the round of 16, in the round of 24,
분위기가 좋을 줄 알았는데 뭔가
Up until then, I had pretty good feelings.
그때부터
And
네, 그때
you know,
좀
that whole
게임이
mood
뭔가
really
제
worked for me
경기력이 안 나온 것 같아가지고 그때
really
좀
well.
불길하더라고요.
And I remember
다음 시즌은
that
좀
match that I played
네,
against
모든
Sock.
경기를 깔끔하게
After that
준비해야
match,
되지 않을까,
something
준비해야 되지 않을까 생각이
really
들어요.
just got into my head.
그래도 이 3위도 정말 값지고
I was,
멋진
quite
자리예요.
unlucky
이
after
자리까지
that match.
오셨는데 우리 팬 여러분들께
And
인사 한 말씀
so
하셔야죠.
something about that
그나마
really
이제
just
안도할 거는
got into my head. So I felt like I really should have prepared a lot harder.
뭐 굳이 듀얼 토너먼트 안 해도 된다는 게 굉장히
So,
기쁘고요. 다음 시즌 준비 잘해가지고
what?
기대에 부응할 수 있도록
How do you feel about
네,
that now? He says, well, now I'm
축하드립니다.
seated,
선수
so I'm going to feel a lot more
네,
comfortable,
오늘
and I will
승리로
prepare
ASL 시즌
much harder
3의
for my
3위를
fans to show
확정지은
good games
김태경
next
선수까지
season.
만나봤습니다.
All right.
그럼 오늘 경기
So
결과를
thus
화면으로
ends the story of
확인해보시죠.
everyone in ASL except for Shine and Flash. Bisu will take third place over Soulkey. I think it's well deserved.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely was the better player tonight. Soulkey, he's been playing well. This was not poor quality out of him, but he needs to have a bit more range, I think, in his play than what we saw here tonight.
Yeah, and you know, practicing against Bisu, having these experiences will definitely help him in his upcoming game against Free in the semifinals of the SSL Classic.
Ладно,
will be
вряд ли
coming
он
up on
что-то еще
Thursday.
интересное
So,
скажет.
you know, nothing is ever, you know, over. No one game is, you know, ultimate. There will be more games, and Soulkey will maybe be more prepared for those because of his loss here tonight. Taking top 4 in ASL Season 3, one of the most stacked seasons of ASL we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Dare
So,
I say the
I'll
most
make a little
stacked.
break.
You dare.
Yeah, I do,
dare
Artos.
say
We will watch
It's going to
finals.
set him in a great place.
Shine
Here are
versus
our
Flash.
finalists. Shine, the guy observing the games tonight, taking on Flash.
Yeah. This finals is going to be sick,
Like
guys.
break-
It's gonna be
break
the
20
battle
minutes
of the
probably,
builds.
and I
Can
will,
Shine pull
stream
out enough
final of
strategies that throw
ASL.
Flash off that he can defeat him. Flash is overall the stronger
Так что кому
quote-unquote player,
интересно,
but Shine is just brilliant. He has been
в
wowing
общем, ясно
everyone,
всё.
fooling everybody.
See you soon.
and
See you next
just,
time. Play
killing
StarCraft
people
Brood
because of
War,
that
the
strategic
greatest
play.
strategy
And
along
once
with
again, a
Total
reminder
Annihilation.
about our grand finals where you can watch these two great players face
See
off.
you soon.